Little by little, we're starting to learn about more items that were found at UVU on the day that Charlie Kirk was unalived. Yesterday on Candace Owens' show, she talked about additional items that were found, a backpack, some gloves, and some other things. And the person that was interviewed in court about this. And I do want to play a little bit of this first. And also, I want to talk about some other things that were found in addition to the backpack and gloves. And I'll show you a separate video about that. But let's look at this first. Let's take a look at what Candace has pointed out. And I want to talk about the language that's being used in this. It's very peculiar. And I want to break it down for you to try to make it a little bit easier to understand. It took me a little bit of time to digest what was said because it was very tricky language, very strange. So let's take a look and listen to Candace, and then we'll go from there.
Caused me to react that way. I want you to listen to what Sergeant Philomena says. And more importantly, I want you to pay attention to her demeanor, the social cues. She's clearly uncomfortable, and she's going to suffer from a little bit of amnesia. It's going around. Everyone is suddenly finding Dory. Take a listen.
Canvassing the scene. They were also trying to see, the route of the shooter as well as just trying to find the shooter. And they determined that the Fulton Library stood out because there were unattended items there at the bus stops that were away from the courtyard area. And so to them, they thought it was suspicious.
And were certain items seized from, and what were they?
Yes, you had a backpack, a jacket, as well as some gloves.
Okay, backpack, jacket, and gloves. So it's never asked what was in the backpack. I don't think the backpack is particularly important. I think what's in it might be important. And then a jacket in the middle of the summer is and gloves, that, anyway, that's strange, and I think that should be pursued. And let's continue.
And there may have been some other things. I just don't recall them right now.
Might have been some other things, and that would be important. It's already important enough what they mentioned, but it would also be important to know what those other things are.
And do you recall what the item numbers were of those seizures? Was it 9? Does that ring a bell?
I don't remember.
And she doesn't remember how many items, not even a ballpark, nothing. We just get nothing. So he said 9. I'm going to take him at his word. There probably were 9, and he was just getting her to confirm that.
Whatever was seized was sent to the FBI lab for processing?
Yes.
Okay, so all of the items were sent to the FBI lab for processing. She says yes.
And along with some information that the suspect may have shed some of these items as he fled, correct?
Yes.
Was a decision at some time made, and you were requesting that both DNA and other type of analysis get done?
Yes.
At some point, did you decide to pull a plug on that?
She's going to say no. She did not decide to pull the plug on that. That's a no.
At the time when it was already sent, we didn't have more information as far as whether or not the evidence that were collected there were probative.
Okay, so she's just not really answering the question there. She's just saying, well, we couldn't decide if it was probative or if it was something that would prove something or not prove something.
But eventually you communicated to the lab that those items were not in fact connected with the case and there was no need to do further testing.
I don't remember communicating that.
I don't remember communicating that. She's saying no again. He said, you determined that those things weren't important, basically, and that you didn't need to hang on to them. She said, no, I don't remember reporting that. So that's the second time she said no.
Okay. If that's in the notes of the FBI or the ATF, would that be inconsistent with what you know?
No.
Okay. This is a very tricky language right here. If that's in the notes of the FBI agents, would that be inconsistent with what you know? That's tricky language right there. It's trying to get her to confirm something without actually knowing. So if the fact that those items are on a list of an FBI agent, would that be inconsistent with what you know? she doesn't know. So she's saying, no, that's not inconsistent with what I know because I don't know. It's not inconsistent with what she knows because she doesn't know. So she's basically saying no, but it sounds like she might be confirming it. Now he's going to come at her another time, and this time he's going to get her to agree with him. She's going to say yes because he's kind of making it sound like, well, everybody else has accepted this as a fact, so isn't it true, kind of thing. And she just gives in this time and says yes, but she's already said no twice.
Okay, I mentioned it because some of the reports, the lab reports, have those items listed.
Okay.
I just want to be clear that those items eventually you determined were not related to this case. Would that be fair?
Yeah, that would be fair.
So he got her to agree that she is the one that determined that those items were not important or not related to the incident. So that's that's pretty tricky right there. So I think it's important because if you listen to that by itself, it's a little mind numbing and you don't really think about what's being said, but it is important. If we go to other items that have already been established that were found at UVU on the day of, then, and I want to listen to this. This is about 3 minutes. I might not play the whole thing, but I'll play the important parts, and we'll take a look. But this is basically the about the bullet. They discovered an unspent round, a 223 round, I guess on the rooftop of a different building, of the library, I think it was, or the computer building, or.
Turning to the scene at UVU on September 10th, that a bullet was found on a roof. Do you remember that testimony?
I do.
Do you have knowledge about that bullet, what that is about?
Yes, I do.
What roof was that bullet found on?
I believe it was found on the computer science building on the roof, on the far east side of the roof of the building itself.
How do you know that it was found there?
I reviewed the agent's report that found that, documented it, and collected it.
What agent was that?
It was Agent Ben Schneider with SBI.
Are you aware of where the computer science building is on campus?
Yes.
Can you explain generally where that is located?
Yeah, from where the Losi building is, it's a building directly.
According to Baron Coleman, this guy's all messed up on his directions in his east and west and north. It's pretty funny. You should listen to his take on this whole thing.
Would there have been, from that roof of the computer science building, to your knowledge, would there have been a line of sight to Mr. Kirk's tent?
No, not according to the agent. Agent Ben Schneider, there was not a line of sight from there to where the tent was, where Mr. Kirk was.
Did you learn from Agent Snyder what caliber that bullet was?
Yes, I did.
And what was that?
It was a .223 caliber.
What is a live round?
It's a round that had not been fired, so it still had the projectile and as a fully functional bullet with ammunition with the bullet.
Did you learn if this .223 bullet found on top of the computer science building was a live round?
Yes.
And how do you know that?
It was still intact. Still had the primer had not been it was not dented. Had been fired. It still had the bullet projectile in the end. And still sealed.
Did you observe this bullet personally, or is this information you're getting from Agent Snyder?
From Agent Ben Schneider. Mm-hmm.
All right. He goes on later to say, or somebody, maybe it wasn't him, but somebody goes on to explain this bullet that was found as one of the police officers cycling their rifle, and the bullet ejected and landed on the ground and wasn't picked up or something. They were clearing their rifle, or they're cycling it or doing something, which I believe it was Valhalla that said that's just not something that police officers do out in public. They don't run around cycling their rifle and with bullets popping out, and especially in crowds. people are on rooftops, that's just something that doesn't happen. So I got to believe that. Um, so that's the 223 bullet that was found. And then also there was a holster that was found by this guy, which also I have a hard time believing this guy when I listen to him. He just doesn't sound credible to me. Doesn't sound like it. He just sounds. So many people are just so easily persuaded to do things, and I just don't. I don't know. I believe some people, and some people I don't. I just have to go on my gut instinct. It's just my opinion. All of this is my opinion, and it's alleged. Just so we are clear about that. But this is regarding the holster that was also found on that day.
Then you came down from the walkway above the tent, right?
Yes.
And you came down to really the grassy area that we've all been looking at, the courtyard.
Yes.
And there was kind of chaos, people running around.
Yep.
Yes. And while you were down there, you saw what you said was an empty holster.
Yeah, as I was clearing people out and making sure that the evidence was preserved, about towards the top, after a little bit, I saw an empty holster sitting there.
And when you say towards the top, can you be specific and tell us where you were?
So on the south side in the courtyard, there's some tiers of seating where the grass is different levels. And it was towards the top, maybe just right before the cement is where everybody's standing. So there's different levels, just towards the top on the grass.
And when you saw the holster, can you describe to me what it looked like?
An empty concealed holster.
For what type of
For a
weapon?
pistol.
Okay. And did it have any markings on it?
I didn't even know, not that I noticed.
And what happened to that holster?
I have no idea.
Did you ever take custody of it?
Nope.
Did you ever tell anyone else to take custody of it?
Nope.
You just left it on the grass?
I did.
Wow, he's real proud of himself, isn't he? You're in a freaking active shooter situation, running around in a crowd, and you see a holster and you just leave it there and you're proud of your answer? God. What is going on? Up is down, down is up. What's going on? Why would that be something that would be so insignificant to him that he wouldn't think to pick that up? To pick it up and to pursue it. Why did he even include it in his report? Because I think they're using his own report to determine that this holster was found. Why even put it in there if you're not going to do anything? And I just, it's unbelievable to me. Like it just doesn't make any sense. Common sense would kick in at some point, and you would say a holster might be important in an active shooter situation. It just might be. That's just my opinion. I know I'm probably crazy, but I would think it would be. So this guy loses all credibility with me completely. I just, sorry, that's just not good. Not a good situation. So we have many things that have been found on this day at UVU, and it seems like the pile is adding up and the list is growing longer. And I think in time, more things will probably come out. I'm sure. I mean, there were too many people there and too many things going on. And I do believe, I hope that the truth will come out. I really do. And that's what we're all pushing for. And so I hope that you are getting some value out of these videos. If you are, please give me a like and subscribe to the channel if you would. I will continue to make these videos, and I won't stop, and it won't be probably over just Charlie Kirk. I'm sure other things will come up, and I do like reporting on other things. But please like and subscribe and comment below, and I will try to answer all the comments that come in. And I appreciate it. And this is JP with Truth Probe, and I hope you guys have a good day, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks.